Hey guys, welcome to another East Coast Rams podcast. I am your host, Ashton, here with my awesome co-host, Zach. Zach, how you doing? We beat the 49ers in the regular season. It feels
We
like,
did.
since the Civil War. We haven't beat them since Civil War. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Lots of good things happened. We beat the 49ers. We hit the record I assumed we were going to be by the at the beginning of the season with 10-7. We're off in wild card week going up against, again, the script couldn't be better. Matthew Stafford going back to Detroit to face his former team against the Lions and Goff, their quarterback, our former quarterback. It's just going to be a crazy ride, and can't wait to kind of discuss all the details between Sunday to next Sunday.
Yeah, just a lot of craziness in the NFL this last week. A lot of news coming out, a few things to go over. But let's first off, Zach, we did our first ever ECR fantasy league. It was a lot of fun. It was free, guys. So we'll definitely bring it back for next year. I had a lot of fun doing this. Yours truly, Zach here, was the number 1 seed, and yours truly was the number 2 seed. And we both lost in the first round. So, yep.
I think I lost in the second round. Or no, did I lose in the
Well,
first round? I don't know. Either way, doesn't matter. I still lost, didn't make it through.
Yep. But Kevin, I had Aaron Rodgers for 4 plays, won it all. Congratulations, Kevin. A really good team you put together, especially considering you lost your QB pretty early in the season. Just a tad bit early. Impressive stuff, but a lot of fun, and we will talk more about that in the off season. But Zach, the Rams have a few announcements. Steve Avila, the first and only player for the whole Rams to play every snap. Impressive. The rookie got it. Only gave up 2 sacks all year.
I mean, it's a credible feat. I mean, is there really any player who has played every snap of a regular season game? I mean, this is typically unheard of. I mean, a lot of times you do try to, rest some people. So it's just crazy. I mean, they pulled everybody but him and Alar Jackson out at the very end of the 49ers game. So I don't know if they just were trying to give Avila more reps or they were trying to secure that 100% snap count rate, but just a big kudos to him. I mean, he's been a solid piece that they put in. And I mean, he was our first pick of the draft and, someone who has been really a stable point in that offensive line to give Stafford the time he needs to make the big plays that he has to get us to the point that we can say that we're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I definitely agree with you there. Just a stalwart, going to be a future long-term option at guard. And, he struggled, especially when it comes to kind of pass protection at points in the year. By struggle, I mean like very lightly. Like that was the weaker part of his game. But he's been putting it together. And like overall, even when he struggled, he's been better than a lot of the options we had last year.
Yeah, 100%. It was a good pick in the draft. He's been playing solid every year, and every snap, every game, and I just can't wait to see how this rookie. Again, he is a rookie playing every single snap in his first year debut. It's just kudos to him for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and it's just it is surprising how often and how much this Rams team hit on this draft class. Early, late, every level of the draft, linemen, every position, just fantastic draft by them.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Zach, you want to go ahead and introduce our special guest?
Yeah, I think he's joining on. It looks like he might still be having some issues, so maybe we'll bring him on in just a minute. Um, but we should have a special guest on here very soon. Waiting for his camera to connect. Um,
Well, it's going to be mic only, so
oh, Mike only.
audio only. Yep.
Hey, Scoot.
How's it going?
Hey, it's going real well. How are you, my man?
Pretty good. Do I sound all right?
Yeah, you
Yep,
sound perfect.
I'm perfect.
Sounds
So
good.
welcome aboard. We're just getting into the pod a little bit, talking about Steve Avila hitting every single one of his snaps, 100% snaps in this whole season. What are your thoughts about Steve Avila?
I think Steve Avila has been great, especially with Kevin Dotson. I think they've been a great duo together. I think it's been especially impressive, especially after last season, with how injured the O-line was, having a rookie come in and play every single snap. That's definitely something we needed. We needed that availability on top of just how well he's been playing.
Yeah, I really this entire line outside of I would say left tackle, I think people would agree left tackle probably still needs a little bit more work. Alaric Jackson is a good depth option. I just don't think he's a quality starter there. Outside of that, like the line has been playing great and fantastic, and that continuity just makes a difference from what we saw last year. Stafford still has been getting hit a little bit, but overall, they've been, I think, what top 10 in least amount of sacks. So good work on rebounding from a bad year.
And I want to go into that real quick about Stafford because we're talking about records, and he has a big record coming out that he's the only starting quarterback who hasn't had a fumble in the regular season for this whole entire season. That's an accomplishment of itself. It doesn't happen very often, and just kudos to him and kudos to the offensive line in the center for not muffling snaps, things like that. It's been pretty solid.
Yeah, a decent year by the center. I would say room for improvement, but really good job. At least snaps. We've seen a lot of bad snapping this year. I feel like this has been a worse year than normal for centers. At least like a lot of missed snaps, high snaps, stuff like that. So do you guys want to talk about Raheem Morris getting a bunch of coaching interviews from a bunch of different teams, the Washington Commanders. What's your kind of take, Scoot, on Raheem Morris? I know fans, especially early on, really didn't like Raheem Morris going into the latter half of 21. They started warming up to him. That defense got hot. And then the last few years, it's been kind of a love-hate relationship with the fan base.
I've been a big Raheem Morris supporter from the beginning. You can check my Twitter. I've got the receipts. I've been all about Raheem Morris. I think he's been doing a great job, um, especially with how young this defense is. This is a very young defense, and for being so young, I feel like they're so disciplined. Um, I know that a lot of people like to dog on Darion Kendrick, but he definitely doesn't let those big plays that he sometimes lets up. He doesn't let that get to him because he'll go right back on the field and then he'll go break up a pass. And I just think with how young this defense is, and I don't think there's a first round pick on the defense outside of Aaron Donald. I think it's been extremely impressive what this defense has been able to do this year. Some people thought this was going to be the worst defense in the league. People thought this was going to be the worst pass rush in the league. We got Kobe Turner. We got Byron
Mhm.
Young. And I expect us to probably sign someone in the pass rush.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that going into the season that I was, thinking that we were going to be a top 10 defense at all. I think we all really thought that our offense was going to be the star of the show this year. We had a new offensive line. It should be healthy. Stafford's healthy. Cooper Kupp, was looking to be healthy, making a comeback. And you thought our offense was going to shine. But really, starting from week one, our defense was playing really good football for you at least 3/4 of every game, and just showing that they were better than what people were expecting them to be. And that's a lot of it has to do with Aaron Donald, yes, and the talent that they pulled in with bringing in Witherspoon and things like that. But you have to look at the coaching, and really Raheem Morris has been deserving of a head coaching job really since after the Super Bowl. And these spots that are opening up with the Panthers and with the Commanders, really they everyone is stupid if they do not choose him to be their next head coach. I would love for him to stay and continue working and building what him and Sean McVay are doing. But I really think that any team, if you look across this league, they need this Raheem Morris as a head coach. He's fun. He's energetic. He likes to, he jokes around with everybody. Like, this is a good presence you want in the locker room. And I feel like Sean McVay is growing that platform. And Raheem Morris is just one of those pieces that, needs a head coach job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his
Love
defense has always been smart. Very smart. It's been very data driven. A lot of, I know the off press coverage drives people nuts. I'm with you guys, especially watching the game. But if you look at the results and how it has really limited other offenses against a personnel grouping that, guys, let's be honest, has severe limitations, especially because of the cap and really only having one player that makes up the cap on defense. You're going to do a lot of special things to make it a competitive defense. And Morris has done, especially with a lot of creative blitzes, gap blitzes that I've been noticing, especially in the latter half of the season. Just really creative ways to get pressure. And it helps Kobe Turner has kind of turned it on in second half of the season. I think some of that is also because we face worse O-lines going later in the season. But, the rookies have grown, and they've grown with his system. And, he deserves a head coaching job, or at least an opportunity at one. It's like some of these head coaches you see, and, they keep on having losing seasons, and, they get opportunity after opportunity, but you don't want to give Morris. And I believe his one season he had with the Bucks was like 8-8. So it's not like it was atrocious either.
Nope, I've been a big Raheem supporter. I hope he does get a head coaching job. He definitely deserves it, but I won't be too upset if he stays in LA for another year. Sick of our coaches getting sniped.
So if he leaves, who do you guys want to see become the Rams defensive coordinator? There's a few names, in-house, out-house. Does anyone kind of pop to your mind for that job?
I would love to see Coach Henney, D-line coach. Would love to see him. He's been very vocal about Kobe Turner for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's had a clear vision for this D-line, what he wants to do. I think this D-line has been we're still very young. It's struggling to get edge pressure. I think Byron Young's done some good things, but I think given what this pass rush looked like when we went into the season, I don't think anyone expected this rookie to come out of nowhere with 9 sacks.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. What I don't really want to see is I don't really know if I really want to see Brandon Staley come back. I know that's also the big news right now that he, would Sean McVay want to bring him back? Yes, we had a really good season while he was here, defensively at least. But I want to see someone else take that mantle. We're all about growing what we have, and I don't know if I want to bring him back to do that spot.
I am actually kind of in favor of a Brandon Staley redemption arc. I really am. I think the way he played defense, coached that roster was phenomenal. And some people aren't good head coaches, but they're great coordinators. And I think him being judged for a Chargers team that struggled with injuries for most of his tenure, that he clearly wasn't able to grasp both offense and defense and the whole team chemistry all at the same time. I think he should get opportunity to be a coordinator again because he did such a fantastic job, and that should at least buy him one opportunity. But
I
we'll see.
don't think he did. I think he should go get a defensive coordinator job somewhere. I just don't know if I want him back with the Rams.
Yeah, I definitely get that. I think this team has just been so flexible and just adapting and changing as be it season by season, week by week even. This team is just so flexible in what they want to do, and they have a vision of what they want, and then they are just so adaptable with changing what they want to do to get to where they want to be.
Yeah, and Jordan Rodriguez did talk about, to your point, Scoot, that the Rams offense itself has even had to adapt week to week because defenses will completely do opposite thing than they're used to just because of the way McVay's offense has been schemed and defenses because of the way our offense goes off of tendencies. You have teams going exact opposite of their tendencies, and it's kind of funny to see that the entire league is trying to break McVay's offense by not doing what they like to do stereotypically.
Say it every
Okay.
year. We set the precedent.
Oh yeah, we really do. We're cutting edge with drafting, with offense, with defense in 2020, and hopefully we can find a DC that can kind of embrace a new philosophy defensively, with a young core. So it's a lot of exciting stuff.
And I think I think a lot of credit also goes to Sean McVay because I think he lets his coordinators be coordinators and he doesn't always micromanage them. And so Raheem Morris, obviously he's really the assistant head coach to Sean McVay, second really to him, but he lets his coordinators have freedom. He allows them to be who they are. And so, Raheem Morris has so much control over what plays get done and how that defense works. And so a lot of other teams, a lot of that stuff still has to go through the head coach, and there can be some, bumped heads a little bit there. So kudos to all the coaching staff and for all that getting worked out.
Yeah, JJ Watt was saying on the Pat McAfee show today, he really has a lot of respect for the coaches, that not the ones that micromanage and pay attention to every little thing, but to the ones that have that confidence in the people that they hire to do their part.
Exactly. So, all right. So, any other big news? I mean, I know the 2024 opponents have come out. We know who the Rams are going to go up against in 2024. We'll be talking a lot about those teams once over the off season, and then once the schedule actually gets released for week to week, we can kind of figure out how it's all going to play out. But is there anything out there that you guys are looking for, or is there a game you anticipate to attend in 2024?
Oh, I'm going to Chicago, I think, depending on when it is. My girlfriend doesn't like to go to stadiums when it's cold.
Hey, I understand. I'm in the same boat. I'm 3 hours from Chicago. I'm definitely going to hit Chicago if I can, and maybe I'll make another trip back up to Detroit if it's willing.
Did you guys see I'm going to Detroit?
Me too.
Yeah, you're going?
I'm going.
Oh my
Got my
God,
ticket.
we'll have to meet up.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm trying to get a group together. We'll see what we can do, but
I get into town
we'll talk
on
about
Saturday.
that here in a minute. I'm coming up just Sunday. Just how life works, but I'm gonna make it. So
I couldn't not.
We'll see how it goes.
As soon as we beat the Niners, I was like, I can't not go to this game. This game is going to be talked about in 100 years. This game will be talked about.
So let's go ahead and dive into that. Let's go ahead and talk about this game. This game is it is. I don't think the NFL really could script it any better. Honestly, I do think they could script it better. I think they could have waited until the NFC Championship game. I really think that's what I think. Rams fans and especially Lions fans would have rather had it not be the first playoff game going into this, but it is what it is. Lions, Rams, Goff versus Stafford, Sean McVay versus Stafford. or Sean McVay versus Goff. I think messed that one up, but it's an interesting storyline. Obviously, we shouldn't pay too much to the story, but how can you not? But the Rams need to get business done in Detroit, and they're scary. They're scaring every other team in the NFC, and I think it's well deserved.
Yeah, it's just fantastic that this became the Sunday night game. Again, it would have been nice if it was later in the playoffs and we were able to make a run and meet them. But it's the one of the best wild card games I can think of. Just the matchup, both these teams. Detroit has a, let's say, below average defense, really great offense, which I think a lot of Rams fans are underselling how great that Lions offense has been all year. And this Rams team is the hottest team in football coming into their house. It should be really action packed, really high scoring. I could really see this one going down to the wire and whoever has the ball last. And it's going to be fun, win or lose. I really do love that fan base. I love that team. I love the grit. I love Dan Campbell. Uh, outside of every other team but the Rams, they're my second most liked team. Like, I really do root for them when they're playing other teams. And that fan base was so fantastic and so supporting when they could have been bitter about Stafford getting traded. And they understood. And it was a very smart fan base, especially after the fact that they've been struggling to get success for so long. And they willingly accepted that Stafford had a better chance going somewhere else. They knew it wasn't their time. And they just accepted that, moved on, and supported him during his playoff run with the Rams in 21. And even if we lose this game, I feel like there's never a completely painless playoff win, but this would be the least painful playoff loss I think the Rams could have in a while. Like, I want the Rams to win. I want them to go far. But if they're going to lose to a team, I feel like the Lions is a really good team this year. And, we'll see. The Lions have a lot of history going against them. What do you think, Scoot, about this matchup?
The Lions this year remind me a lot of the Rams in 2017. Red hot, coming into the playoffs. Everyone thought this team was a joke. Granted, I think the Lions had some expectations this year. I think they were the favorites to win that division. I think Jared Goff's been playing great. Always going to be a Goff guy. Hopefully they don't ban his jersey when he comes back to SoFi again. Don't know if you guys have seen the Stafford jersey ban fans are trying to implement. I get it. He's the bad guy. He's the bad guy coming into town. That's what Stafford said. So
I just hate the word ban. If they would have just said, "Hey, let's support Goff, let's support Amon Brown, let's support whoever," like, but to put out like, "Hey, we're gonna ban him." Or ban that, or and again, it's not the Lions organization. Want to make that clear. It's just it's a
fan movement.
Fan movement. Not all fans want that. I get it, but yeah, I thought it was very distasteful to, let's say, that we're going to ban his jersey. Now I get people. Go ahead.
I think it's going to be full of Stafford jerseys on Sunday.
I think so too.
I can't imagine it not being full of number 9 jerseys.
I mean,
you can still be you can still be a fan of your team and love a player. Like, those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Like, I mean, you don't have to have one or the other. You can still say, I'm a Lions fan and I really like Stafford for what he did as a Lion.
Yep, that's how I feel about Jared. I still love Jared Goff. He's now been the cornerstone of turning around 2 franchises that everyone laughed at for years. And he has been the quarterback to kick both of those teams off. And now these are teams with expectations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Jared Goff fan. I'll be an apologist for him. I think he's a good quarterback. Top 15 at worst. I think he gets a lot of disservice to him. But I also want to make sure that people know, like, I definitely don't expect a welcome back for Matthew Stafford going into this game. If this was a regular season game, sure, we could have a video, we could have a, something to just say, hey, welcome back to Detroit, blah, 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 blah. This is a playoff game. This is totally different than a regular season game. There should be no, hey, obviously inside the organization is going to, say, hey, glad you're back, blah, blah, blah. But there should be no like outright Lions should be supporting Matthew Stafford in this game. This is a playoff game. We need to take this seriously as an organization. Obviously, they shouldn't be part of a banning of his jersey, but we should also not like, let's make this a homecoming and then give him all these accolades when we're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, talking about historical stuff, Lions v. Rams, and you guys will know this more than anyone else, is on record to be the most expensive wild card game ever up to this point.
Yeah, me and Zach probably know that already.
Yes,
Yeah.
as someone who could not drive, and I live near DC, I just looked at everything, crunched numbers. It was just way too expensive for me to be able to go. It would have been around $1,100-$1,200. And guys, as much as I wish I was made out of money, I'm sadly not. But
I mean, it's sad. I mean, I will say it is sad that the prices were so high. I get people saying, well, they haven't had a playoff game in 30 years, blah, 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 blah. When it comes down to the wild card game, every team should be pretty much, I feel like, at even keel when it comes to the ticket prices. And the Lions are the ones who set these prices. It's not the NFL. It's the Lions. And yes, I know people can resell the tickets for higher amounts, but tickets for nosebleed seats from Ticketmaster started off at like upwards of $480. And that's before all of Ticketmaster's fees, which is about another $150. So I just think that when it comes to playoff season or tickets, there should be a little bit more control over that. And when you are paying almost double to the next game for getting your foot in the door, I think that's a little ridiculous. I mean, I didn't pay for nosebleed seats because I thought it wasn't worth my money to pay that. So I paid a little bit extra to get a little bit better seats. But it's one of those things where like you kind of have to do the math and figure out, is it worth it? Is it not? I wish the prices were down because, it really stinks that like I'm the only one going in my family. Like my wife is, said, hey, this is something that's important to you. You love this fan base. This may be the only time you might go see a close playoff game. Like you need to do it. And I was very grateful for her for letting me do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you guys make of like? Oh, sorry. Scoot.
No, I was gonna ask Scoot what jersey he was gonna wear.
The Rams are undefeated when I wear the Ben Skoranek jersey on game day. So we will be wearing the Ben Skoranek jersey in Ford Field. And hopefully, I think I'm on the visiting side, and I wouldn't say I'm close to the bench. I'm not really near the 50, but I am definitely going to do everything I can to get that jersey signed on Sunday.
Oh, that's awesome. So cool. So, okay, I am on, I don't know the direction. I'm on visitor side as well. I'm on the opposite side of the opposite corner of their tunnel. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know what jersey I'm going to wear. I was really going to wear this one right here, the Super Bowl Stafford. My wife tells me that I should not wear it and I should wear my Puka jersey because we have been more successful wearing Puka over the last few weeks since I've gotten it. So I'm unclear what exactly I'm going to wear, but it's going to be freezing outside before we get into the stadium.
Yep, it is going to be terrible outside. I live in Iowa. We just got 12 inches of snow the other night.
Ooh.
So
Yikes.
That really made me excited for that drive to Detroit.
I know. I kept looking at the forecast and I was like, okay, roads will be fine. It's going to be a little windy. It's going to be a little cold, but there's not supposed to be any precipitation on my drive.
How drive is it for you, Scoot?
It's going to be a 7-hour drive. And then on Monday, I'm driving back, and I have to work on Monday night.
Oh, no.
My boss, a Niners fan, was not giving me the day off.
You will be juiced, though, with the Rams win. I'm just saying.
I do think we walk into Ford Field and we walk out with a win. Matthew Stafford, last time he played Detroit, he did not spare his feelings. 117.3 passer rating, 330 something yards, 3 tuds. I think it's going to be a game.
I mean, Stafford's going to be fired up. He's going to be fired back up that he's going to be in there. He's playing for his team, his current team. He doesn't other than a few people he knows on the Lions roster and the coaching staff and the organization itself. Like, he's playing for this Rams team. He's playing for all of his players. They're all working hard to win that Super Bowl. So I'm excited to see a Stafford who's just ready, who's glad that he's, I think, going back, but is ready to continue the Rams journey.
Who thought we would be here this far?
I think both
you say
Zach said.
Who thought we were going to be in the playoffs at this point when we were like 3-6?
3-6. I mean, obviously preseason, I thought we were a 10-7. When we started to hit that 3-6 range, like, I mean, I did falter, but I always had faith that we could come back. I mean, when you looked at our second half of the season, it was always easier than our first half of the season. And once we got Kyron back, I mean, geez Louise, we just kind of started steamrolling a little bit.
I mean, after the first 4 or 5 games, I was a complete believer in this team. The roster was way more competitive than it had a right to be at the beginning of the year. Seeing how they grew, I just knew they would have a opportunity to get to a 9 or 10 win season. And they were able to really execute upon that and rebound after the bye week. It's just amazing what they did.
Scoot, I got a question for you. So since you're on here and you're a big Skoranek fan, how did you feel when Skoranek tried that leap move and then he got flagged for it?
I think he got robbed
during that time.
I think that's what happened.
So
I think he got robbed on live TV in front of a national audience. Couldn't believe it.
Ooh.
They kept saying excited. he was like a half a step from probably being legal, and it was terrible. He didn't touch anybody. He did not touch anybody.
People still bring up the drops from the NFC Championship. He's grown so much, man. Love this man.
I mean, he's great, and I really enjoy that he's still on the team. I feel like he found a spot in that special teams because unfortunately, I do think like without that spot, he might not still be with the Rams, only because they did find such gems. It felt like. Even though, like Tutu, he had kind of an off couple years. He started to heat up in the beginning of the season, things like that. But I'm really glad that he's on there because he's a really good gadget player when they need him to take over. If there's an injured wide receiver, he can fill in that spot really quickly.
I think he leads our team in special team tackles.
I don't disagree because
that's our captain.
I mean, he's the only special teams player who actually can play special teams. So, I mean, other than maybe our punter.
That's true. I think I chalk the special teams up to the depth of just being razor thin on that side of the ball.
And most
of those guys were drafted for that purpose. They were specialty drafted to be special teams. It's nuts.
I mean, that is the reason why the Rams will lose this game. If they have to rely on their special teams, they will lose this game.
Well, I'm predicting now. I think Stafford's going to hit 500 yards. Nick Mullins.
Woo!
Nick Mullins dropped 400. 400.
Nick Mullins was balling. I won't lie. He was balling.
Against Vikings have good wide receivers. The Rams have a better trio, a better quad. I think there's a good chance that Kupp and Puka just wreck the lines defensively. Now it's going to be a shootout, and like you said, I think we could falter because of special teams, because of kicking, punting. Definitely expect the Rams to draft a punter, or not punter, kicker. Next year. I would be very surprised if they didn't.
maybe not a third
Agreed.
rounder like the Niners did. He's still missing. He's still missing PATs.
Oh, that was
Ugh.
bad. I mean, that was bad. Doing that at home, is just terrible.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, I mean, this Lions team is good. I mean, you have Goff, you have Amon-Ra Brown, you have obviously we still don't know where
Laporta.
Laporte is going to be. I mean, he's day to day right now. Obviously, Dan Campbell said this morning, recording on Wednesday, that he is day to day. He's making good progress, things like that. So we'll see how that plays out. But he's definitely going to be probably a
And
up to the
he's a
game
top
decision.
he's a top 3 tight end in the NFL as a rookie.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely he led, I believe, the tight ends of the rookie class at least, which isn't, always the biggest thing to pick on, but he's been playing really well. I mean, he's definitely someone where they drafted well at that spot. I thought they were crazy for getting rid of Hawkinson and sending him to the rivals of the Vikings, because he is again a top 4 tight end, and they found a gem in Laporta.
And Laporte is better at blocking than TJ.
All
That's
this tells
why
me
they-
is the Rams need to draft an Iowa tight end.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. I think the Rams. I don't know. I think they could have found something with Davis Allen. The looks that he's gotten, like he's looked good outside of a drop or two. Really has. So he might be taking snaps next year from Tyler Higbee if Tyler Higbee starts out slow again. Because people don't remember, like first half of the year, Tyler Higbee was kind of like, I know he was hurt, but like he was kind of missing. And we really need a good, tight end option there that can block and do everything. And Higbee wasn't doing it for majority of the season.
So we've kind of talked about our offense. We think our offense should be, lighten things up. Stafford should be, playing probably the best game, probably maybe of this year. Obviously, Puka's coming off of his. We didn't even talk about Puka breaking his 2 records, getting both rookie reception and rookie yards. So kudos to Puka Nacua. Obviously he should be offensive rookie of the year. It's going to be very close because CJ Stroud has also had a good season and he is in the playoffs now. So we'll see how that all turns out.
I guess it doesn't matter that the Rams also made the playoffs with Puka because of Puka. I guess that doesn't matter.
And that Puka's played in every regular season game, even injured. So whatever. But again, so we go with the special teams. Our special teams obviously is our weakest point. Then we kind of look at the defense. Yes. Our defense obviously is very talented, but we have had issues in the secondary. We will be getting some relief back because we will be getting Duke Shelley back from IR just in time for the playoffs. How do you guys think that's going to match up? Do you think Duke Shelley is going to take over the starting spot and it's going to be Duke Shelley and Witherspoon going to be starting? Or do you think that, DK has kind of earned his spot back to start off this game?
I just don't think cornerback has been the big issue all year. I think that's been safety. I really do. Again, I don't know the plays. I don't know the coverages that they're calling. Like, I can't read Raheem Morris's mind. So I don't know where they're supposed to be. But every big play, I would say 80% of them that has happened to the secondary has been because the safety didn't rotate correctly. From what I've seen, and at least what I think has happened. I think our safeties have really, really struggled. The cornerbacks, again, in one-on-one coverage, they can get mossed, but they're all small. We only have one DB above 5'8", I believe. So, like, you're going to get that whenever you have those type of size DBs. And you're not paying anyone to be a number 1 cornerback. Akello has played fantastic, and I think Darion Kendrick, he has good instincts, and he's very sloppy technically. He's a 6th-round guy who got redshirted his first year. This is his second year, and he's only starting 1 year. He's going to be rough, technically, and I think he's kind of ironed out some of the stuff, and you still see him do bad technique every so often. It's going take probably another year for him to get to a better place if he's going to be a really good, like I would say, DB2, cornerback 2. What are you about? What do you think, Scoot? Do you think Kendrick is going to lose the job?
I think he'll probably start just to kind of get into the rhythm. I feel like that's kind of the big thing with how the Niners game went. We kind of wanted to get those guys in those roles. We wanted to get them into a rhythm. I think Ronnie Rivers got into a good rhythm. I think Kendrick is going to get into a little bit of a rhythm. Hopefully, I would love to see this defense come and ball out, get a pick. We were the only team in the NFL to not score a non-offensive touchdown this year. Would love to see scoop and score, anything like that. Would love to see this defense ball out. Anything for me to praise Raheem Morris, because he gets so much flack. We could win a game 3-6 and people would be, or could lose a game 3-6 and people would be mad that Raheem let up 2 field goals.
Yeah, I mean, your boy Jared, I'm just saying, he does kind of have butterfingers from time to time, not gripping the ball correctly. And we do have a little known player, Scoot. I know you maybe never heard of him, Aaron Donald. He likes to wreck games from time to time.
Yeah,
yeah, I know exactly, a small time player. But that Lions O-line is good. Like
very good.
Seawall, like Ragnow, I just from left to right, like that's a top 5, probably like 5, the 5th best offensive line in all the NFL. Just a lot of respect for those guys. So getting to Goff, not going to be easy. Not going to be easy.
Nope, that's why you got big time players making big time plays, big time games.
Yeah, Kobe Turner, and a lot of one-on-ones. Gonna get a lot of opportunities.
He's been double teamed like crazy this year. They've been doing a great job scheming Aaron Donald to get the one-on-ones. I mean, obviously he's still getting doubled more than like 60% of the time, but Kobe's been taking on like 70% double teams, still getting 9 sacks.
It should be a fun game, guys. I'm so excited for this game just to watch it from top to bottom. And if we win this one, this team can go on a run. I really do think that's possible.
Yeah, I mean this team it's special. I mean it's a team that knows that they have been kind of crapped on since the beginning of the season, that they were retooling. They're not going to be great. They're maybe they'll squeak past 500, but maybe they're just a 6-win team. They all know this. I mean, you go back and you read it, like Sean McVay knows who said what. He knows that people were dogging them, but they knew who they were as a group. They knew the talent that they had. I mean, shoot, when you're building around Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, and Aaron Donald, I mean, assuming they're all healthy, how can you think that you're going to have a losing season? When you're building around 3 of the best players in the NFL, how do you think that you're going to have a losing season?
You think any of them would be content with tanking?
No, that's my point. Like, why would Sean McVay come back to start tanking? Why would Matthew Stafford? Why would Cooper Kupp? Why would Aaron Donald not retire if he knows that all they're going to do is be a sub 500 team?
Well, let's be fair, because it did take literally them picking up 2 people in the offseason that were gems, in Ahkello Witherspoon and the guard from the Steelers, and then a draft class, no lie, that from top to bottom is one of the biggest draft classes in Rams history, and almost every player outside of maybe 2 was a knockout hit to get to a 10-win season.
One of my good questions would be, and again, I don't, this question isn't going to be trying to slight the players, because these players are awesome. They deserve the records they're given. But when you go back and you look at the coaching and you look at how Sean McVay and how they use the players, do they have a chance on any other team to get the accolades that they get? They put themselves on the field. They fully earn what they do. But would they have the opportunities that they do if they were chosen on a different team? And I don't think so. You look at players who are picked in the first round who are not performing anywhere near Puka Nacua.
Oh yeah.
It's so I kudos to the players for getting those accolades, but kudos to the coaches for giving them that opportunity to be their best. And that's why I love this organization. I think that they do well with the players they have. And you go back and you look at OBJ, who was told he was toxic. You look at Carson Wentz, who's told he can't work with players. You look at Baker Mayfield. You look at all these players that they have brought into the facility, short term or not, and they have gone on to be successful outside of it. Baker Mayfield, nobody wanted him. Rams picked him up. He played well as backup when Stafford was injured, when we had to, kick out our other two. And now he's starting and he's in the playoffs. OBJ is in the playoffs with the Ravens playing lights out. Carson Wentz will get his opportunity moving next year. It's what this organization, this culture is building that makes this team special.
And this roster, 6 of the 7 losses, all those teams went to playoffs. 6 out of 7 of the teams that we lost to went to the playoffs. That 7th being the Bengals with Joe Burrow. It's pretty impressive the year they had.
Very impressive.
And and especially when they came close to a couple of them. I mean, the Ravens went into overtime. Yeah. That was a close game. The first 49ers game, we were toe-to-toe with them for at least, a half, if not 2/3 of the game.
3/4. Yeah.
Obviously
Steelers
the Eagles. Yeah, the Steelers game. I mean, the Eagles game was close for the first half. Really, the Cowboys was the only game that really we kind of lost it there. We can compete with any team in this playoff run. And, the first one we have to go up against is Detroit. Take care of business on Sunday.
Yeah, are you guys worried about this reffing crew? It's same reffing crew from Steelers, Rams, with that really clearly bad 4th down spot of the ball. And they had some questionable flags also the entire game.
No, because they owe us one.
Well, they do. I mean, they also were this. They're not favored of the Rams or really the Lions, because if you remember, this is also the same officiating crew who messed up our game last year against the Seahawks, where we should have won that game, and that prevented the Lions from getting in. If we would have beat the Seahawks, the Lions were in, and it was the bad officiating.
They keep on messing with the Rams. I don't think the Lions going to be upset if they keep on messing with the Rams this game.
Well, they're mad because they messed up the Rams, which the Rams had no reason to win because they weren't going in the playoffs, but it messed up the chance for the Lions to get in. Yeah. And so, that was known going into that game. Bad officiating just going all the way around.
You worried about the officiating, Scoot? I mean, it's been bad for most of the league, so.
Yeah, it's been, bad calls are just part of it. I don't really like to be we got robbed from the Steelers because we still would have had to have a 2-minute drive, go down, score a touchdown just to tie it.
Sure.
Bengals, a lot of opportunities. I know that they took that 2-2 touchdown away. Offense went kind of stagnant, but just gotta control what you can control, as Sean McVay likes to say. That's all you can really do.
Or that Lions call on 2-point against the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that was nuts.
Lions fans, I feel with you. The refs have not been kind to the Lions for a lot of games, but I don't know if that's one that you can. I don't agree with Dan Campbell going for it. you're 7
3
yards
times.
out for a 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
I know that they wanted to win the game. They really wanted to win that, but you at some point when something like that happens, something unprecedented like that, you just got to play it smart and be, like I said earlier, you got to adapt. You can't. They lost that game because they were stuck. They were like, well, this is the mindset. We're going to be stubborn in this mindset, and I think that's ultimately why they lost. I think that loss was on Dan Campbell, in my opinion.
I agree, and that's what this
They
team can't do. They can't. The Detroit Lions, if they want to have a chance, they can't. They can't play safe, but they also can't play too aggressive, because we know what happens when you get aggressive on Matthew Stafford. He finds your weak points. You can't blitz him. He's too good at it. It's Matthew Stafford's best when he's under pressure, and if you put that pressure on him, he's going to take it and thrive.
I don't know. CeeDee Lamb was cooking them that game, man. You give the Cowboys that ball in overtime, I don't think Lions were going to stop them. But I agree with you guys. This game's going to come down to whether or not Dan Campbell can have patience with against this Rams team and like try to suffocate them and get a lead, because I feel like we always struggle when we're down, and McVay can have a tendency of like getting pass happy when we're down, and we need Kyron to be a kind of key fundamental piece in this offense for this game. He has to rush, and when he rush and kind of helps pull down the linebackers, that line secondary is going to get toasted.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean the struggle is it was the Lions who are third in kind of run stops as far as per carry, yards per carry. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Well, I mean,
And I'm
good thing we
excited.
have the NFL's second leading rusher on the year, even with missing 4 games. Just saying, that kind of helps a little bit against that. And this may be a pass first game where they kind of pass to open up the running lanes, and you see in the second and probably mid third quarter, they're like really start to run it down, depending on if they have a lead or not. Got to do that and got to avoid turnovers. That's, all the basic stuff.
All right. Anyone have any final comments about the Lions game?
I'm just really excited. This is like I said earlier, this is going to be a game that's going to be talked about for a long time, I feel like. And this is just one of those games you got, if you can, you got to be there for it. It's going to be electric, the atmosphere. Even if we lose, I don't know if I'm going to be super upset about it, because that atmosphere is going to be insane.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, if the Rams do lose, this is the team that I kind of would want to be there for if they did lose. I'm a Goff fan. I do like the Lions. I like their grit. I like the brand that they're kind of pushing right now. I do like it. It's just unfortunate that they're going up against my Rams. So I will be rooting for my Rams the whole way through. I'm super excited that I think I'm going to get to meet Scoot in person. So that's going to be awesome. I know quite a few Rams fans who are going to try to get a meetup. So we'll try to plan that together. But yeah, I'm super excited. Ashton, anything else you want to say about this?
Just real quick, your guys' predictions for the game. I know you hate these, but we got
I
to
hate
give
predictions.
it to people. What's your prediction for this game?
I'm going to go Rams 31, Lions 28.
Yeah, I'm feeling that kind of the same wheelhouse. I also think that the Lions would get 28 points. I do think that the Rams can get up to 33 points.
I will go 38 or 39-38 Lions. I think it's a shootout that the Rams lose by missed field goal.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine? I would be so heartbroken.
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
Apparently my boy Maher's going to shank one right, 20 yards to go.
Hey, maybe he'll put it on for the playoffs. Maybe he'll just go in that dark place.
Maybe he'll be the opposite of last year's playoffs.
Yeah.
Imagine if he starts nailing 60-yarders, that could happen.
If McVay trusts him to kick a 60-yarder.
Nope. He'll trust Matthew Stafford's arm more than anything.
Hmm.
All right. Well, I think it's going to wrap this episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. Big shout out to Scoot. Thank you for joining us on this podcast. Do you want to plug anything while you're here?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on. It was a great time. Love talking ball. Love talking Rams. Best team in the NFL. I'm on Twitter _SC00T. Find me talking about Ben Skoranek. Find me talking up Raheem Morris. And having a good little ribbing with some of the Niner and Seahawk fans on the app.
Yeah, we gotta get you Ben Skoranek's autograph. We just gotta try to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna try showing up pretty early. Try to get that jersey signed.
Yeah.
That's the jersey of destiny. If we win the game and I get it signed.
Oh, could you imagine if it's like a punt return or something crazy, or a punt block for a TD, and he does that? Oh, you would be going nuts.
Yeah,
you got to record that.
I'd put him in the hall. Just because of that, I'm gonna have to record every punt now, just in case he makes a play.
He's gonna go to Cannon.
Yeah, he field goal blocks for the win when we're down 5. Ooh.
Yeah, put him in on defense. He'll get a pick 6.
Let's do it.
He's our Travis Hunter.
Anything is possible. Well, we hope to see as many of you at Ford Field in Detroit as possible. Sunday night football, 8 p.m. Game. I'll be there. Scoot will be there. We got a whole other people there. Ashton, you'll be with us in spirit, unless you somehow figure out a way to get there. But we will see you. Anyone who goes there, we'll meet up with you. Just let us know. You can contact me on Twitter. We'll figure out a meetup time. But big thanks again to you, Scoot. You guys can find Ashton at RamFanAshton1. You can find me at Zach Mayer on X. You can find us on Threads. You can find us on Twitter at X at East Coast Rams. Please go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/@EastCoastRams. Please subscribe, like, smash that bell so you always get notified of any Rams video that we put out. Guys, wild card weekend. It's going to be the wildest wild card game this weekend. Guaranteed. Put your bet on that. And we're looking for a Rams victory. We'll see you guys next week. Whose house? Rams house.